Hello, thanks for checking out my video. Today we're going to be working on some fine motor skills with these tools, the scissors, the marker, the glue stick, the popsicle sticks, and maybe some stickers if you're lucky. And also some visual perception skills with our line drawings. Ultimately what we're trying to accomplish is to make some simple shapes. So a square and a triangle, and we want to learn how to make these shapes by building the pieces of the shape. So we're going to start with some popsicle sticks and kind of like make the shapes that way. Once we glue them down, we are going to use our scissors to cut out the shapes. And the popsicle sticks are going to act as kind of a guide for our scissors, a physical guide, a little tactile cue there. And then we're also going to add some visual cues, and we're going to keep our hands safe the whole time as we cut. Let's start with our paper selection. I have two different kinds of paper. These two at the bottom are cardstock, and this is construction paper. And although construction paper is readily available at many locations, cardstock might be a little bit more difficult to find. I also find that construction paper can be a little flimsy, so when we go to cut the shapes out, it's going to be a little bit difficult unless you have the technique down to hold it. So I'm going to avoid construction paper for this activity, and we're going to jump straight into the cardstock. The cardstock is going to be a little bit more stiff as we cut, so it'll kind of hold up against our scissors, and we'll be able to easily manipulate the paper without it flopping around on us. I'm going to start with this orange one here, and I'm going to move the other piece of paper out of the way so that we have our visual field nice and clear of all the clutter. Then I'm going to get some popsicle sticks, and we're going to demonstrate how to do this for the kid first. That we're going to be making a square. So we're going to put one down, we're going to put another one down, we're going to put a third one down. We're going to line them up a little bit there, and then we're going to say, hey look, we made a square, so that they have a visual understanding as well as a verbal understanding and a language-based understanding of what we're trying to accomplish today. While we have our popsicle stick out there with the demonstration, we can go ahead and take a marker. I just kind of remove one of these popsicle sticks right here and put a visual cue down for where these popsicle sticks are going to be landing, so that we have a little bit of guidance and structure with our activity here. Go ahead and move these. And then finally this one. That'll just go to there. So now I know where I put the popsicle sticks. Now that we have our visual cue on our paper and our popsicle sticks are ready to use, we're going to use our glue stick. And I always like to have the kid unscrew the top or just pull the top off and then screw kind of from the bottom there to get the glue up. This adds some great opportunity for us to use our fine motor skills here. Three-jaw chuck, a pincer grasp, maybe like a lateral pinch, whatever form we're using is good. And then also some bilateral coordination, because I'm going to have to hold this glue stick as I twist from the bottom. So I got the glue up and ready, and I'm going to go ahead and start gluing my glue sticks. I'm going to really get it on there nice and good, all over the back. If your kid needs some help with that, that's okay. You can do a little hand-over-hand assistance with them. They can also lay it on the table and glue it that way. But if they do, I would really encourage to help them with some bilateral coordination. So really getting their non-dominant hand involved to stabilize the glue stick. So we have our glue on there, and we're going to start constructing our square. So we're going to go down. Let me get another one and glue it. The whole time we got a good pincer grasp. We're working with really small manipulatives. So that's some good manual dexterity skills that we're building here. And also, once we get it down on the paper, we can really kind of encourage you to press down a little bit extra hard to get some of that proprioceptive input into your finger joints. almost done here. Looks like I cut it a little close, so I'm going to spread that out just a little bit, just like that. Push down real hard again so we get that good proprioceptive input. Get another popsicle stick and repeat all over the bottom. And then we're going to connect the dots here with the visual cues and push it down. All right. And then we have a square. Now that we have our popsicle stick square on our paper, I do want to take the opportunity to work on some visual motor skills, some visual perception, as it relates to kind of some pre-writing strokes. So I'm going to get my marker out, and I'm going to draw lines on these popsicle sticks. It's likely the case that you're going to want to put down some visual cues for your student. In the example that I have, I use stickers. I really like stickers. If they have the fine motor skills to pull the sticker off and then to put it on that location, I would encourage you to encourage them to do that. That's a good one. Or another thing you can do is use visual cues like the dotted line right here, or if you're kind of learning the alphabet, you can put letters down, from A to B. If you're doing a little color discrimination, you can have colors. You would start from the green, end at the red. Or if you're just feeling happy today, you can do all the happy faces. For me, I like to use the larger crayons, but if your student is a little bit more developed with fine motor skills, you can use some of these smaller or thinner crayons. I'm going to go ahead and just use a quick green-red combination here to get our visual cues on the paper. So I'm really going to start here and go green to red, and you can encourage your child to do this part too, but if they need assistance, that's okay. Alright, green to red, and then I'm going to do green to red over on the left side. If they're coloring, I'm encouraging them to use like a dynamic tripod grasp or maybe a lateral tripod grasp. If you're using bigger crayons, sometimes you can do a brush grasp. That's totally acceptable too. Alright, so we're getting some good fine motor skills here with our coloring, and we're really kind of bound to this physical boundary here of the popsicle stick. Really encouraging a lot of visual focus and visual attention to our paper and our popsicle stick, all while adhering to our boundary. Oh yeah, I have red over here. And one more on the bottom. Green and red. I added some extra visual cues on there because I think that learning about numbers today should be a fun activity. So I'm going to use these numbers with some stickers now. If they can peel these stickers off, that would be great. If you need to help them with that, that's okay. But I'm going to say, put a sticker on 1. Let's put a sticker on number 1. Let's put another sticker on number 2. And I'm going to go through the whole sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way around. 3 and 4. I'm getting some good fine motor skills out of this. Nice pincer grasp. Some shifting is involved. These are all the skills that are involved in creating radial precision when writing. When we have a dynamic tripod grasp or a lateral tripod grasp. So I'm almost done here. I'm at 7. And I'm going to put one more sticker on number 8. Now that we have our visual cues on our popsicle sticks, we're ready to do some line drawings. If you're working on exclusively vertical strokes, you would only work on the vertical strokes and then turn the paper, work on another vertical stroke. It is important to learn both vertical and horizontal strokes, so we're going to do that. We're going to start by flipping our thing around, and then we're going to go from the star to the fish, from the green to the red, all the way down, and we're going to go over here to the red one, from the purple happy to the blue star, all the way down to the red, and then again from the yellow star to the orange fish. Alright, So we've been working on our visual motor skills here, looking at the utensil as we're moving it along the popsicle stick. That's visual motor integration. We're also working on our fine motor skills as we manipulate this marker here. And if you noticed, I was holding it with my non-dominant hand, so we're really encouraging some good bilateral coordination with this as well. Okay, so now we're ready to cut. We got our scissors, and we're going to orient them correctly with our thumb in the thumb hole and our other fingers in the other finger side. And we're going to use our non-dominant hand to pick up the paper. We have these great physical cues here for our scissors, as well as a little safety boundary. And then our cardstock paper is really holding its shape. So we're going to go ahead and start cutting. Make sure your child is visually attending to this, just so we don't have any problems at all with scissors. And once we cut, we can go ahead and rotate the paper. So there's not a lot of room on this side, so that's okay. We're only going to get a couple opportunities to cut, but we're going to have more with the triangle that we're going to make next. So we're going to finish this square. Go ahead and cut all the way along. Perfect. And now we have our square. Now that I'm done with my square, I can start with my other paper. Get this square out of here. And we will need 3 more popsicle sticks for this, as we're going to make a triangle. So again, we're going to lay the pieces down. I'm going to start on the bottom. We're going to lay the pieces down so that our student understands kind of what we're asking of them. They have a good visual model of how to do it. Alright, we're going to put these pieces together, make ourselves a nice little triangle. Perfect. Now we have a triangle. And again, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of move these out of the way and give us a visual cue for the student and for yourself if you need it. I needed one too. Just to kind of mark where our popsicle sticks are going to go. So we have a little bit of a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish here. Alright, so now we take the popsicle sticks, we give them to the students, and we help them assemble a triangle. We say it's your turn, and we give them the glue stick. Again, we're going to maybe take a little break and twist it down so that they have to twist it back up again. That's one of my favorites there. Some good bilateral coordination, some good fine motor skills right there. And then we're going to glue our popsicle sticks and put them down in the triangle. I'm going to start on the bottom. I'm going to put them right between our visual cues. And we're going to push down really hard to get some good proprioceptive input through the fingers. And some good bilateral coordination, fine motor skills again with the glue stick. And then we're going to put this down on the paper. Push down. We're stabilizing with our non-dominant hand. We're using our dominant hand. Sometimes we're switching between dominant and non-dominant. That's okay. I just use my left hand to push that down while I stabilize with my right. Now it's on the right side, so I'm going to go ahead and use my right hand to stabilize with my paper there. And I'm going to push that down just like so, getting some good proprioceptive input through the fingers. And now we have a triangle. And for this one, I think I'm going to switch from color coding to maybe something that has a little bit more visual cue to it along the way. Sometimes our visual motor skills maybe aren't totally developed yet, and we might kind of lose our way a little bit. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and just put some dots along the popsicle sticks there so that my student can go ahead and use those as visual cues and just trace over them. Alright, just like that. And then if you wanted to go ahead and get a little, color discrimination involved in there as well, you can go back and get your crayons again, or have your student get the crayon and mark where we're going to be starting. We're going to be starting here at the top, and we're going to be ending here at the bottom. Alright, so the red is kind of the international stop sign here, and the green is the international go signal. So we're going to go ahead and just wrap this up. I'm moving from left to right on the bottom because that's how we write when we write sentences. So there's a little bit of thought behind that in terms of our motor skills and the way that we're moving. Now that we have our visual cues on there, we're going to go ahead and do our line drawing. So get your marker out. We're looking for a good dynamic tripod grasp, or maybe with a larger marker you can have a good brush grasp. That would be okay. But really, the more we're able to use our fine motor skills here, the more accurate we're going to be. So to also encourage that, we're going to make sure that we have enough stability on the ulnar side of your arm. So make sure that ulna is against the table, perfectly stabilized, which is going to allow us to use our fine motor skills more than our gross motor skills if we're hovering right here. All right. Sometimes some of our students just require a little bit of a extra weight, if you will. I'm just putting my hand over their arm. I'm not really pushing down or anything. I'm just kind of acting as gravity, just my hand weight as gravity. And they're going to go ahead and complete this dot to dot little tracing right here. We're going to go down, down. We're going to follow the dots, and then we're going to go again. We're going to go all the way over. And on the bottom, you'll know there is some sliding of the forearm against the table. What we notice is if you're kind of stagnant and you don't reposition your arm, your pen stroke will fall off, or you will go off to the side, that kind of thing. So we want to make sure that we're really even along the bottom. Okay. Now that we have our triangle constructed with our popsicle sticks, it's time to cut it out. We're going to get our scissors out and again orient them correctly. Get our non-dominant hand, make sure that we're holding the paper and looking at our visual target. This is a diagonal kind of cut here, so how do we manipulate this? It's probably easiest if we take our shape and turn it to continue just cutting vertically, essentially. So we're going to keep our scissors vertical like this, and we're going to turn the paper to accommodate our scissors on the vertical plane right there. So we're just doing that. And again, I'm going to go ahead and turn the paper around. Sometimes you can use two hands. Sometimes if you're very dexterous, you can use just one. I'm going to go ahead and cut this side out too. And again, we're getting our fingers out of the way. We're using the popsicle stick as a physical boundary for us as we use our scissor skills to cut these little vertical shapes. All right. Now we have an opportunity to practice kind of pronating our forearm and using our scissor hand to trim up some of these if we desire. If we don't desire, we want to leave it just like that, that's fine. I'm going to take this opportunity to show you just kind of how we're going to start using two hands together, and they're going to turn together to kind of trim out these corners. So again, my scissor hand now is starting to pronate, and my non-dominant hand is turning the paper to get these nice rounded corners here. All right, so when we go to start cutting out circles, we'll have these skills already in our tool chest. Now that we have our shapes made with our popsicle sticks here, we can go ahead and use these for other lessons as well. We can do a little bit of color discrimination with this. We can do some shape discrimination if we take away a couple and just have the square and the triangle. We can continue with some of our pre-writing skills with coloring. We can go ahead and take a crayon and color the inside of a shape, which is great because these popsicle sticks are going to act as a tactile cue, kind of as a boundary, so we start to understand our spatial. We have a little bit more spatial awareness as we continue writing. So again, I'm using some fine motor skills here, maybe a brush grasp, a grasp with extended fingers, a dynamic tripod, or a lateral tripod. These are all good things. I'm going to make sure that my arm is stabilized on the table. We're going to keep going and color those in if we want to. We can practice writing letters or numbers. Maybe your student is working on writing letters. We can give them a visual cue for the letter A. All right, or we can use these for counting purposes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we can continue with more line drawings. Thanks for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Please feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions on how to implement these strategies with your student.